Hello and welcome to At Your Service, brought to you by the Village of Downers Grove. Today we'll be taking you on the sites of two projects underway as part of the Watershed Infrastructure Improvement Program. The program identifies areas and solutions where drainage and flooding issues exist. Join me now for a conversation with Assistant Public Works Director Mike Millette as we visit the Washington and McCollum Park Stormwater Infrastructure Improvement Projects.
What we're doing is we're building a stormwater detention facility that is to help the neighborhood, not just here, but up north all the way up to Ogden Avenue and basically from Washington almost all the way to Fairview in certain parts. It's one of the older areas in town. We don't have a lot of detention areas. Those are the areas where water can go temporarily to store while the creeks fill up and drain back down. Over the course of the development of the village, the concept was to get the water to the creek as fast as possible. Well, there's other people getting water to the creek fast as possible, and sooner or later the creek can't handle it anymore. So modern subdivisions are built with detention facilities of varying sorts. So what we're doing here is we're retrofitting a detention facility into here, which is Washington Park, which was the old Washington School, and then the what we call the southeast lobe over there, which is a current softball field. And the concept is to have that field take the water first when we get heavier rains, and we're talking about those rains you get, maybe the one big gully washer per summer, or we've had a rainy period lately. We've had quite a few. But the water we go in that south east lobe there, start filling that up, and then if it was coming at a greater capacity, would fill this lobe here, which is about to the right depth that it's going to be. It'll be dressed up. We'll talk about that in a second. And it would take care the pipes that are further south of here that run around the Tivoli and connect at Main Street, then would have the capacity to drain Bryant Place, which is an area we have fairly significant flooding. There's a bowl where it goes down, and that's where all this water goes now. So we're finding a place for it to go instead. This is probably going to be, I dare say, the nicest park in the system. They might disagree, but it'll have shelter, it'll have a large kids play area, a tot lot play area. It will have benches, it'll have a fountain, it'll have an entryway. It'll look like sort of like that European village green type of feel to it up here. And on the southeast lobe, it's still going to be a softball field. The advantage that it will have over right now is now it's just a softball field, and if it rains heavily now, the field's out of commission for 2 or 3 days. When we're done, we're going to put in an underdrain, or as part of the project, we're going to put in an underdrain system. So it's going to be just like you have at Comiskey Park or now at Wrigley Field. You have pipes that are draining the water away faster. There's going to be sandy soil mixed in there, so the water will percolate through the turf faster. And it'll also be an irrigation system there too to keep the grass healthy. And we're going to, to get the volume of water storage we need here, we're going to have some retaining walls built into the project. And for the softball field, we're going to utilize those retaining walls to put some seats in there, fold-down seats, and then the players' benches, and all new fence down there, all new backstop. There's going to be a nice ornamental iron fence around the whole side up here. There'll still be this half-court basketball area that we're standing in right now. As I said, we're about cut to final grade in this northwest area now. They've got a little bit of a touch-up to do and some more material to haul off, and you're right, the rain, people may not realize it, but sometimes the rain will slow down construction because the dump where the material goes may be closed, because the dumps are usually all earthen areas, and if it gets too muddy, they close the dumps. But we are on schedule. The schedule was built in with enough what we call float in there to allow for rain days. This process here, from cutting this to where we start doing the retaining walls, is going to take approximately another month. They're also going to start cutting in the southeast lobe over there by the softball field. That's going to take a month as well. So what the residents around here will see is, round about 4th of July, they'll start seeing the retaining walls going in, and it'll start to take its final shape as far as the detention part goes. And as we finish in the southeast area, this northwest area is going to shift over to the park. We're going to start the improvements with the paths and the plantings and the benches and all the things we mentioned before. The whole project is due to be completed by Halloween, with the possible exception of all of the plantings. Some things are spring-only plantings, and depending on how hot the summer is or not, it'll determine how fast we put in the materials. The grass and stuff will be planted with the intention that the facility is operational come spring. Softball field back in play. Oh, and I did forget to mention before, what we're doing for the Park District right in this little area to the south of us is there's going to be about a 75% size soccer field that they're going to use for practice only. They're not going to have games there, but they did have expressed a need for more practice facilities.
Sure. Like the Washington Park project, the McCollum Park project is also a great example of the partnership between the village and the Park District. This project will also result in not only stormwater infrastructure improvements, but improvements to park amenities as well. Let's hear from Mike about more details.
What we're doing here in McCollum Park is part of the village's watershed infrastructure improvement plan. The village issued $25 million in bonds to construct some facilities to help alleviate flooding throughout the village. Here on the south side of town, we have, in the most part, we have some pretty good facilities, but in the area east of Main Street and between roughly 75th and 63rd, we have some areas that we have some sewer capacity, which is okay, but we don't have detention facilities. Detention is necessary to help reduce how fast water gets to the creeks. In the old days, we wanted to get water to the creeks really fast, so it wasn't bothering us in one way. However, with everybody trying to do the same thing, the creeks get overloaded, creeks back up through the system into people's yards, into people's basements, and flood our streets, etc. So in partnership with the Park District, we have undertaken right now 2 projects, this one and the one up in Washington Park. And the end result will be in the eastern part of the park, there's going to be a detention facility. In order to do that, what we have behind us is the first stage of work. There's an existing sand volleyball court, and there are some existing basketball courts that are going to be moved over to here to allow for room to dig the detention pond over there. And detention ponds are dry ponds. They don't hold water all the time. And as indicated, there'll be a soccer field associated at the bottom of that pond. And it will be full size. It'll be regulation field. There'll be seats. There's going to be an underdrain system. There's going to be pipes underneath the surface, just like you have at Comiskey Park or U.S. Cellular Field and Wrigley Field, to drain water off quicker than it does now by just being natural turf. There'll also be an irrigation system to keep it green in the summertime. But it is going to help people primarily in the area north and east of the park, so towards El Sierra School and then all the way up to 63rd, where those sewers, as I indicated before, surcharge. They fill up too fast and the water backs up in other places. The initial work here is going to take place until roughly the 4th of July. That's about when these will be completed and ready. They'll be ready for use sometime after that, the fencing and other things, but as far as the sand being moved and the new courts being placed, that'll be done by then. And then we'll begin excavation on the main pond over there in the northeastern part of the park. This park is such a wonderful facility, and it's so large that I mean, what we have right here now is we're not affecting the parking lot per se. Yes, we'll be affecting the sand volleyball players for a while, and we'll be affecting the basketball courts for a while, but we're not affecting any of the softball fields or the play lot or the miniature golf course. So all those things, you're right, they'll be going on in the background, but when you're done and you walk past where the tennis courts are, you'll see a path, or we're adding a path around, and it'll gradually slope down, and at the bottom you'll have a full-size, well-drained, well-irrigated soccer field.
Details for each of the 16 high-priority projects identified within the Watershed Infrastructure Improvement Program are available on the web at www.downers.us. If you'd like to speak to someone directly regarding these projects, contact Jim Tock at the Public Works Department at 630-434-5460. For the Village of Downers Grove, I'm Doug Kozlowski. Thank you for watching At Your Service on Downers Grove Television.